Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Horny Creek. A decidedly not as horny episode this week, but my name is Mark. With me as always is my maybe not so horny anymore wife, Carol. How you doing today, Carol?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. It's been a good week here. It is February 17th, 1999. And last episode...
Oh my God, I thought you were going to say 98. Like, my brain is still stuck in 98.
Wow. Well, yeah.
And it's February.
I know. It's still, though. It happens. So you write it out a check and still write 98 sometimes.
Right.
Last episode was To Be or Not to Be. This episode is That is the Question. So we get the other side. Of course, Hamlet was talking about killing himself or not. And maybe Jack wants to kill himself. I don't know.
Hope not.
But
Poor Jack.
this episode, I Still Hate Jack, is...
You're an asshole.
What? He stole Joey from Dawson, and apparently for no fucking reason. Because guess what, everybody? Spoiler alerts for this episode. Turns out he's gay.
Okay, but he even says that, like...
He chose to be gay, everyone. We'll get into it.
He even says that writing the poem is what, like, woke this thing up in him, and he'd been trying not to be gay. So, like...
It woke up the gay monster.
So I don't think that he necessarily was thinking, oh, I'm going to just, use her as my beard. I think that he was really trying to be straight.
All he had to do was continue to feed his gay monster Barbra Streisand albums and...
You're an asshole.
And tasteful window treatments, and it would have stayed dormant. He just wouldn't have been able to get hard, but whatever. Inside of a girl.
Wow.
No, he was trying to repress something inside of himself.
Yeah.
Maybe I have some more sympathy for his character than I did before, but I still am angry at what happened.
Well, yeah, I mean, gay or straight, he shouldn't have stolen Joey away from Dawson. That was not cool.
Exactly. What's it say about Dawson that a gay guy can just steal his girlfriend, though?
Oh, my goodness. Well, Dawson's just a giant teddy bear. Like, yeah.
It's amazing how little Dawson there is in Dawson's Creek anymore.
That's true.
He's more of a background character than ever before right now. I don't know if he's going to come back to the forefront, but so many of the storylines are like about everyone else.
Well, I kind of suspect that now that Joey's going to be single again, that he'll be spending more time with her. And that will bring him more into the forefront.
We do get a come to my window situation at the end. So.
But, okay, so in this episode, there's so many fucked up things that happen.
A very special episode of Dawson's Creek.
Jack and Andy's father fucking comes into town.
Well, so what happens is their guidance counselor calls their dad and is like, hey, your wife's crazy and your son's probably gay. Why don't you fucking get down here and take care of this shit?
Well, apparently, like Andy said that she'd been intercepting their calls to keep them from talking to their mom. Mm-hmm. So either they got tired of not speaking to an adult or they actually got mom on the phone. Either way, no good.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suspect they probably got sick of not talking to a parent. But this episode has proven to me that every adult in the Dawson's Creek universe is a crazy, borderline psychotic asshole.
Yeah, they really don't have any good adult characters. I mean, Dawson's parents are close.
They're kind of kids themselves, though, at least the way they're portrayed.
Yeah.
Who knows what the fuck is going on with them, though?
Actually, Grams was the opposite of evil in this episode.
That's true.
This was nice.
Grams is the one good character.
Yeah.
That's an adult. But yeah, their dad comes back with his fucking streak of gray in his hair, like, take me seriously, I'm an adult kind of haircut. And he's got a turtleneck on and like a blazer. So Joey is planned a romantic dinner for her and Jack because she's still freaked out about the whole is he not gay thing.
She's trying to sleep with him because she wants him to prove to her that he's not gay, really.
Even though she asked him and he said he wasn't, and maybe she felt the awkwardness in that hug. I don't know. But she still very much seems to think, like, he kisses her on the cheek or whatever in the hallway, and she gives this look like, Was that just fucking a friend kiss? Like, she's questioning everything right now.
Well, and like she talks to Dawson, and he's like, well, why didn't you try to be romantic with him and see how it goes, basically?
But that gets interrupted because Dad's like, I want to take you guys out to dinner.
Yeah.
And he wants to take them out to dinner to read them the laundry list of things that they've done wrong or whatever.
It's really sad to watch. Like, Andy is just going off the rails at dinner, just talking, because she can't stand the silence, and she wants to tell him everything he's missed, and she wants to make him proud, and, you know.
She's a pretty good actress, actually.
Yeah.
I believe her manic, like, fucking, you know, and I'm on the honor roll, and it's like, you're always on the honor roll.
Yeah, and what a dick. Why would he, like, oh, I'm so proud of you is the proper response to that, not, you're always on the honor roll, so who gives a shit? Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like, I really believe her, like, trying too hard to please Daddy kind of thing. And I believe her, like, you know, this is a person that's been missing in my life that she really needs a father. I mean, obviously, she needs that kind of approval from a dad. It's, you know, it's an important part of growing up.
Instead, she's getting it from Pacey, basically.
But not right now because they're in a fight.
Yeah, they're not talking. This is weird. Like, I did not remember them being in a fight last episode.
They were kind of in a fight. So I question, I'd have to go back and look at the last episode, but I question where they leave off in their fight in this episode. Because they seem to think, at least the episode seems to think, that they left off on the docks where she was like, I can't support you all the time. And he's like, I just need your support or whatever. And, you know, she's like, I don't agree with you, you know, whatever, fuck off. And that was like the end of things. But I remember their last conversation being him breaking down crying and her being like, you know, hey, I'm sorry, like, you know, I've been, like, really hard on you or whatever, and him being like, you know, I feel like this is all my fault, everything that's happened.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's like, oh, my gosh, I don't know why you think it's your fault, and, like, you know, you should have told me you thought it was your fault, and she doesn't, like, seem to think it's his fault. But now in this episode, she is blaming him because she thinks that he's the cause of all this scandal going around with her name again, and he's mad at her for not supporting him.
Yeah. It's bullshit, and not the way the episode ended. And I don't know why they keep doing things that are, like, inconsistent.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. But anyway, so the dad takes them out to dinner, and he, like, looks at the son, and he's like, so I've been hearing you're a fag. Why don't you say you're not a...
He didn't say fag.
He's like, why don't you... we've had enough problems with a son that's died and a mom that's crazy. Why don't we control the problems we can control? So why don't you just say you're not gay?
Yeah. It was fucked up. Jack hates him, like, immediately when he sees him. He doesn't want him there. Like, he's glaring at him the entire time. Yeah, I don't blame him, but it's just a very big difference between how Andy is reacting and how Jack is reacting.
Yeah, for sure.
And you can tell there's just a lot of tension and upset between them.
I didn't get right away why the guy came back even. Like, I'm like, you abandoned your family. Why are you even fucking here? Who gives a fuck? Like, no one cares about you.
Well, apparently he still gives them money.
That's what I got out of this. I was like, oh, like, because he, like, Jack, it's subtle, but Jack says something about, like, why support a family you don't, like, care about or whatever. So I got it. I was like, oh, he's work. Because I remember Andy saying, like, they don't have money anymore. Like, they had some family money or whatever, but it all got, like, pissed away. And so they, like, that house that they're living in was, like, one of the last things that they owned or whatever. So I think the mortgage on that's paid off probably from what it sounded like. So he's working in Rhode Island and sending money back for groceries and incidentals or whatever. So
Guilt's money.
Yeah, so he's financially supporting the family because obviously the mom's not working, and he thinks that entitles him to, like, ownership over the family,
which is stupid.
But he's like, you know, this is fucking my name. You're out there, you know, sullying with your gayness.
He's like, I only have one son now. You can't hide behind your brother anymore and all this stuff. I feel like the I only have one son is like, you know, keep the family line going bullshit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And, you know, you don't, like, a lot of people, especially older people, have this idea of, like, if you're gay, then you're not really my son. Maybe you're my daughter, but you're not my son. Like,
that's stupid.
Yeah, but that's how some people feel. And I feel like that's what he's projecting. So, yeah, Jack doesn't really answer the question or anything. Like, he's like, would it matter if I was or whatever? And he's like, of course.
Yeah, it would.
Of course it would matter. I'd fucking care.
Yeah, so there's like just awful family drama going on there.
Being gay is the worst. God, what a time to be alive, Carol. With these kind of attitudes.
Oh, I know. And then
there's definitely a generational divide, I think, amongst the older. I guess that's what this show's highlighting, against the older generation and people of our generation or a different generation.
I don't know though, because there are people in this generation, the young people generation, that are also reacting poorly. It's not like they're super accepting either.
That's true in the show for sure, and I guess in real life, kind of too. But I think there's a lot more intolerance of homosexuality from the older people than there are from younger people.
Sure,
in
but
general.
I don't think it's gone.
No, I don't think it's gone.
Way.
There's.
I mean, they wrote "fag" on his locker and everything.
Exactly. There's work. That's true. There's work to be done for sure. I mean, gay people aren't allowed to get married. Gay people fucking a lot of them have to feel like they hide who they are.
They can't adopt children.
Exactly.
I don't think.
I don't know. But yeah, I don't think they can. I think you're right. But yeah, we obviously. Sorry to get political, everybody. We hate getting political, but we support homosexuality.
Oh, we love being political. What are you talking about?
We support homosexuality, so I guess if you're a hate monger that doesn't...
Then go away.
Yeah, then I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Sorry for being accepting of people and who they are.
So, like, yeah, what you're talking about, though, gets highlighted when Jen's new boyfriend, like, this guy who took her to the jazz club last week seems to have like, stepped up to maybe a new level there.
Yeah, because they're making out at the beginning of the episode.
And like, they have another date, and
she invites Dawson.
Yeah, and Dawson invites Joey, who's like, oh, no, I have plans with Jack.
And then those plans get broken.
So they all go to this jazz club.
For the
what
worst...
the fuck is going on in this jazz club?
Just a second. The plans get broken for the worst family dinner since Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, my God. But seriously, what's going on in this jazz club?
I don't know.
Like,
they're just serving underage kids. They don't care about their liquor license at all.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're obviously in high school. Ty is, like, a regular there. They have to know he's underage.
You would think.
And he's just like, 4 usuals. Bring them. And they're like, what's the usual? He's like, a stiff surprise.
Right.
And then...
Not his cock.
Dawson... Right. And Dawson and Joey are so, like, stick in the mud. They're like, oh, we'll have a Coke.
Yeah. We're old.
We're young.
I mean, we're young, but we're old mentally.
Oh, goodness. So they get on the subject, though.
And they bring him a line of Coke. For some reason.
That would make sense in this place.
Well, before that, this is really weird. The singer that's singing at this jazz club is like, Jack, come on up. It's your Ty. Come on up. It's your turn.
Yeah.
And he gets up, and I'm like, oh, he's going to sing. Because she says it's his turn. But he plays the piano.
Yeah, it's his turn to play the piano.
I guess. Was there a piano player before? I didn't even notice.
Yes.
Nothing better than white people playing jazz.
Yeah, it is a decidedly white group there. It's not bad, though. The lady singing was good.
They're fine. They're fine.
But, like, he's playing the piano, and they're like, whoa, where did he learn to play like that? And Jen's like, church? I don't know. Like,
right.
Probably. But they get on the subject of Jack.
Yeah. And because so Dawson and Joey are dancing. Mm-hmm. And while they're dancing, he's like, I don't know why. They look such a good couple. I don't. Jen looks jealous, by the way.
She does.
When they're dancing. I don't know if she is or not, but Michelle Williams, I think, is keeping a little bit of that. I don't know if they're asking her to or whatever, but she's keeping a little bit of that, like, pining for Dawson and her performance. Yeah. And it's palpable.
I like it.
Yeah, I do too. It's just a tiny bit. Mm-hmm. It's not, it's not overt or anything like that. There's just a little piece of her that's still kind of with him, and I think that makes a lot of sense. But it's a very good acting choice, whether it's hers or the the producers or whatever have told her to do that. Either way, it's good. It's good performance.
Yeah.
But Ty's like, oh, they're such a good couple together. I don't know why she's with this fucking fag or whatever he says.
Fairy, fruit fly. That's what he called him.
Yeah, wow. And she's like, Jack's not a fruit fly or whatever. And she's like, and even if he is, like, who cares or whatever. And he's like, yeah, if it's his choice. And then they start talking about whether or not being gay is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Ty, when did you decide to be straight, Ty?
Right?
At what point in your life were you like, you know what? Straightness, that's what I want.
Yeah. So that conversation does not go well.
No.
He says some very offensive things. I don't remember specifically what he said.
Well, he says, look, if it quacks like a duck.
Oh, yeah.
He's talking about, he's equating homosexuality with duckness.
And he's saying it's a choice, but like he's saying, he thinks that Jack is a duck and he quacks. And it's like, okay, but it's a really bad analogy because ducks don't choose to quack.
Exactly. Like, yeah, he really is talking. I didn't think about that, but that's a good point. He's talking out of both sides of his mouth.
Yeah.
He's saying, like, oh, this guy exhibits every characteristic of being a homosexual.
But it's his choice.
That doesn't make any sense. Mm-mm. And I actually think that's one of the. I'm sure. We don't think it's choice.
No.
But and I think I think some of the stereotypical mannerisms of homosexuality are very clear indications that there is a genetic component to it, because I think that some of those things are, some of them are affectations, sure, but I think some of them are genetic expressions of homosexuality.
Yeah, but I don't really think I've seen any of those from Jack.
No.
Well, or maybe those are the affectations that you're referring to, but he tries very hard to seem straight.
Yeah, I don't think the actor is gay. And I honestly question whether or not they wanted him to be gay at the beginning when they introduced this character, or if somebody just had this idea.
That makes sense.
Because he acts now differently than he did at the beginning.
That's true.
You can see a difference in the way he's performing the character from when he first, like at first he was like, when he stole Joey, he's like, "Come on, Dawson, we're both guys here, but we're not fighting type of guys. We know that. Don't pretend you're gonna hit me or whatever." And then he gets punched. But like, is that a hate crime now? By the way,
oh my gosh.
So, but yeah, like he plays it differently than he did at the beginning. So I honestly feel like this is an idea somebody just had that was like, hey. What if he's gay? We could do something with the homosexuality. It's a big issue right now.
Yeah, I think you're right. So, yeah, Joey is still wondering at this point whether or not he's gay.
Well, do you want to finish Ty?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because, so they start this conversation at the club, and then they go back to her house.
And Jen just looks like she hates him.
Oh, yeah. And Graham's like, I really like that Ty character. And sitting next to me on the couch, you're like, ugh.
And he's kind of creepy because she's like, would you like another glass of milk? He's like, oh no, just one's my limit. I'm driving. Like being such a stuck goody. Up. Yeah, goody.
Well, he's a hypocrite.
Yes. And he had been drinking.
Yeah. He had at least one usual that we saw.
Exactly.
But then they start talking about, he's like, oh, let me guess what you're mad about. You're mad about me hating gay people. And she's like, yeah, you know what, I am. And then they start getting into it, and he's like, hey, Grams, what book of the Bible is it that says that homosexuality is a sin? And she's like, I think it's in Leviticus. And he's like, yeah, that's right. See, my Bible says homosexuality is a sin, even though it's translated from 3 different languages, and maybe that word is not exactly what we think it means, but maybe that interpretation wasn't put into the 1950s when there was a lot of prejudice against homosexuals. So maybe that's not the spirit of the Bible passage at all. Anyway.
No views there. No personal agendas.
He didn't say anything. Well, he's got a personal agenda.
No, I know, but anyways, yeah, he brings up the Bible, supports his theory, and then he's going on about how it's a choice and they make him sick and whatever.
Yeah, and he's going to have to answer to God and all this stuff and everything, and he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, because Jen's like, you're not perfect, and he's like, no, I'm not. I'm going to have to answer to God just like he will.
Yeah, but I won't burn in hell because I'm not gay, he says.
He does not say that. And Grams comes in, and Jen's like, Grams, I can't deal with both of you, ganging up on me right now. She's like, what I have to say is for Ty. And then she's like, that boy must be so scared and alone, and it's not for you to judge him. Yeah. And, and she's like, let's save the judging for someone with more experience than you.
Yeah, and you started getting teary-eyed here.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, there was some water in your eyes.
No, I didn't get teary-eyed until the end.
You were glistening. Your eyes were glistening.
Okay. I don't know what I'd be teary-eyed about.
Because you were proud or whatever, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I did like that Graham said that.
Well, I do like that they portray Christianity in two sides.
Yeah, I was pissed that they're acting like, Ty is a Christian, this is how Christians are, because it's not the case for all Christians.
Because they show another side of Christian tolerance and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
we're not all assholes.
Then after that, where do you want to go now?
The next day. When Joey has what?
What's the song? The very next day, I don't know.
Joey has rescheduled her romantic dinner. Oh no. The next day the dad goes back to the house to see Andy and Jack. And he's talking about how he's going to be back in a few weeks.
Yeah, he needs to leave because he has 3 meetings or whatever in Rhode Island. Mm-hmm. And I guess he's meeting with that new guy, that family guy. Mm-hmm. That show takes place in Rhode Island.
Right. And Jack's like, don't bother coming back.
Yeah, you're a piece of shit. We don't want you here.
And then they have this very emotional scene where Jack ends up coming out to Dad. He's like, you might not want to talk about anything else, but we're going to talk about me.
Ask me the question again.
Yeah. And he tells him he's gay. Mm-hmm. And he is bawling. And then the dad starts in on him, and Andy's like, just leave.
Yeah. Andy's turned on him and has said that she's seen the light or whatever, and she's like, get the fuck out. No one wants you here. Because they have Andy and Jack have a conversation prior to this where he says they're talking and everything, and she's like, yeah, like, I love Dad and I want him to be proud of me. Like, that's normal, like, sue me or whatever. And he's like, yeah, that's normal or whatever, but, like, did it ever stop to think, are you proud of him?
Right.
And so I think it gets her thinking in a different way. Now, you were crying at this scene.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly why.
Are you serious?
Yeah, why? Like, what was so emotional?
It was so sad for, like, Jack is so sad, and, like, just the pain, and, like, when he's like, I can't hide it anymore because it hurts. Like, I mean, that really got me. Like, it's sad. Like, he was struggling, and like, he's putting it all out there and making himself vulnerable, and, yeah, I cried.
So, the actor, I mean, kudos, I'll give you a golf clap for this scene, but I felt the holding back.
Okay.
Like, I could feel palpably in his performance him not going all the way.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, I could feel, like, I mean, to me it was very obvious on the screen. Like, he didn't do a bad job acting, but he got like 70% there. But there was still something holding back emotionally. I don't know if he was afraid of overacting. I don't know if there was doubt in his ability to do this. I don't know if it was fear. I don't know.
Maybe he didn't want to lose control.
Maybe, but I don't know. I don't know what was holding him back as an actor, but I could feel him not fully committing to this scene. Yeah,
but I mean, like I'm saying, like, you can, if you're a good actor, you're connecting emotionally, you're getting your emotions in there, and
sure,
to completely let go, that's not good acting either. Like, he has to be in control of the scene and himself, and be able to do it again and again if he needs to.
Well, sure, he has to be in control of like, himself in the scene,
so he can't unleash all of his emotions. I don't know.
I disagree though. I don't think. I feel this is very arrogant, but I think about how I would have played the scene, and I feel like the scene needed heightened tension, much more heightened than it was, and maybe that's the direction. I don't know. Maybe it's the actor. I don't know. But I could feel it not being 100% where it needed to be. And that held me back from being emotionally connected to it.
I am emotionally connected.
I'm glad that you did.
I feel like sometimes you have such a critical eye when we're watching things that you can't 100% get into them.
That's our whole job.
Okay, but like I do the criticism later and I enjoy the show.
I enjoyed this episode. I like this show. You have gotten me to like Dawson's Creek.
Yes, I have.
You were the one that wanted to watch this when you heard that it was coming out, and I was like, I don't know, another fucking soap opera, whatever. And we started watching it, and you were an early adopter, and you got me on board. So I like the show. I want to know where things go, but I can also look at a scene like that and be like, I feel like there are other people that could have done it better.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. There are good actors on the show. I think Pacey's a very good actor. Mm-hmm. Joshua Jackson, I think the girl that plays Andy is very good. Michelle Williams and Katie Holmes are both very good.
The only one that you don't think is very good is James Van Der Beek, because he's the only name you did not say.
He's good. He's a good actor. He's the weakest link in this chain, but it's a very strong chain. Like, it's, to me, do you not think so?
No, I do.
Okay, so, like, because you're looking at me like judgy or whatever. James Van Der Beek, if you listen to this, sorry. I think he's a good actor. I think he's much better than some of the guest stars that they have on the show and everything. I think he's very good. I just think the other three happen to be very, very good actors.
Yeah.
But the guy that plays Jack, not so much. He's fine. He's serviceable. But I feel like, to me, this scene, I hate to continue to harp on this scene, but to me, this scene is an expression of unleashing everything he's wanted to say forever. This character, Jack, has felt for a long time that he's gay, somewhere deep inside of him. And he's been repressing it his entire life. He knows his dad has seen it and has basically commanded him through, not necessarily overtly, but at least covertly commanded him to keep that part of yourself private because that's awful and you shouldn't be who you are. You should be somebody else. Mm-hmm. This is him finally unleashing that and saying, this is who I am. Fuck you for ever making me feel like I can't be who I am. And I think it needed more. I think it needed more release. The dialogue's fine. I think that it needed to be not like he's swinging punches at the dad or something like that, but more of an explosion of rage and sadness. I think those are the overarching emotions in this. He's angry at his dad, furious at his dad for everything, for how he's acted after all this tragedy, and for how he has suppressed Jack. And he's also sad that he hasn't allowed himself to be who he is until this point.
And he's scared of being who he is right now.
Exactly. And there's a lot of fear too. But he does the fear pretty well. But the other two parts I don't get it as much.
Okay.
Especially the rage. To me the rage was very muted. And I think he needed to take a step forward. Take a step forward towards his dad, thrust his face at his dad, scream at him, Mm-hmm.
Well, that's how you've
seen it in me.
That's how you would do it, because you have more of that, but maybe he doesn't,
As an actor, you mean?
Yeah, I've seen you in plays where you really get, or even as a person, because you bring your own self into everything you do, and
sure.
You have more passion when you're upset than maybe he does.
Well, I guess. I don't know. But to me, it was too muted of a performance.
Okay. All right. What are we talking about now? Okay. Joey reschedules this romantic dinner with Jack the next day, which is, I think, like you said, kind of shitty that he let her do that.
Yes.
Because she's all dressed up and she cooked and he comes over there to tell her he's gay.
Because we have a scene in between. We have a scene of him, screaming at his dad. And then we have a scene at school the next day where he talks to Pacey. Mm-hmm. And he says to Pacey, hey, there's something I wanted to tell you or whatever. Thank you for standing up for me and everything. And they shake hands and everything's cool between the two of them and everything. And he's at school, and I'm thinking, oh, go find Joey and tell her, hey, guess what, I'm gay. I just admitted it to my dad's, and it's like, I am actually gay. But he doesn't.
Well, he probably wants to do it more privately, but I just feel like he shouldn't have let her, like, put herself out to cook and stuff.
Yeah, he gets there early, but it's like she's lighting the candles. Dinner's in the oven.
Yeah. Yeah, and he tells her, that he really is gay. And he's like, but I don't want to lose you. You're such a great friend, and I know that's selfish of me. And she kind of, she smiles at him like she's trying not to cry, but she smiles at him, and he reaches out and holds her hand. So I think they're going to be friends still.
I hope so. I mean, like, I honestly think, as much as I hate him and his character, I like him a little bit more now. We've gotten to know him a little bit more. It's like Andy. I didn't like Andy at first, but I like Andy a lot more now. I like him more now. I do think it was shitty what he did, but, like, I don't know. Like, because to me, he could have connected with anybody. But maybe Joey's right. Because Joey comes to Dawson before and says, hey,
am I sexual?
Yeah. Like, after their night at the jazz bar.
Which, there was so much sexual tension between the two of them when they were dancing. It's insane that she would have to ask him that question. She asked him that question because she knew what his answer was and she needed to hear it.
Yeah. And he's like, what do you mean? She's like, did Jack pick me because I was safe? Like, she thinks that she's suspicious. She doesn't know yet, but she's suspicious that he's gay. And she's like, did he pick me because, like, I'm the perpetual virgin and, like, I don't have experience with guys and I probably won't be trying to go after him. We set him up with Jen, the picture of sexuality or whatever, and he wasn't interested in her. Like, why was he interested in me and everything? And Dawson's, in Dawson fashions, like, yeah, you're sexual, blah, 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 blah.
He's like, you're extremely sexy.
And he gives her all the compliments. You're blossoming, and it's very sexual. It's very sexual. It's very, beautiful to see, all that stuff. And then he says, he leaves her with a little fucking mind bomb where he's like, ask yourself this, though. Why did you choose Jack? And then he walks out.
Yeah.
So then they talk, and she admits that he's gay and everything, like you said. And she's upset. So this is there's another storyline we got to get to before we're done.
Pacey.
But this is the last scene of this storyline, essentially. It's the last scene of the show where he's watching, Dawson's watching something.
We don't even know.
In his room. And camera spins. Like, camera's straight on him. I like this. This is very subtle direction, but it really connects the ideas in our head. So it's a one shot of him framed perfectly in the bed. He's watching TV. The TV's there. He's alone. This is how we've seen him most of the time since Joey and him broke up. It didn't even click in my head until now that most of the shots are one shots of the bed, right? All of a sudden, the camera just does this subtle movement to the side, and we get a two shot or a camera set up for a two shot where Joey comes to the window, and it's like, that's right. In the first season, at the beginning of the show, the camera in his room was usually set up there for a two-shot, framing him and the window, because someone was usually coming in the window, and it hasn't been framed that way since they broke up. And now they've moved things back. So it's a very subtle visual clue of, like, things are moving back to how they were.
Yeah. And
even if they're not together, even if they're just friends at this point, they're friends who she comes into his window.
Yep. She comes in the window and then just climbs on the bed with him, and she's crying, and she snuggles up to him, and that's how we leave it.
Sobbing her eyes out. And
He's going to comfort her.
He's holding her.
So we'll see how that goes. I think they're going to get back together.
We'll see. I don't know. I think it's odd that they were broken up in the first place ever, but whatever. So I feel like the show had this will they won't they situation. They had the love triangle situation. They broke the love triangle situation, and they were like, let's have them get together. And then they got together, and they're like, fuck, this is boring. Let's have them break up. Now let's bring back sexual tension.
Yeah. So the other storyline is Pacey. The last week, he'd gotten in trouble with his teacher and got suspended, even though he apologized, basically.
Yeah, and Dawson brought all his homework to him for a week And apparently he's been sleeping in Dawson's room for a week.
Yeah. Yeah, he said, Dawson says, you're welcome here. I love you. But I'm looking forward to having my room back and back to its normal owner and smell.
Right.
So apparently Pacey's very depressed. He's not even showering.
Yeah, I guess so.
He had Jerry Maguire on constant loop, just laying in bed all day while Dawson's at school.
I guess that makes sense a little bit because the at least the beginning of Jerry Maguire is about a talented guy that gets fucking like he stands up for moral reasons
and he gets shit on,
ostracized for it. So
yeah, and he said it speaks to him.
It makes sense.
He said he'd rather be there than at home. Like, how does he manage that though? Like, he got suspended from school, and his dad's just like, "Yeah, go stay with your friend." Like, he is still a teenager. He shouldn't really have a choice.
My assumption is the dad doesn't know somehow.
Maybe.
Like, he's staying there so the dad doesn't know?
I guess.
He's just like, I'm going to be at Dawson's for a week for fun?
It's weird. Maybe his dad's just on a bender. I don't know.
Who knows?
But he did not want to be at home for a week.
His dad's a fucking loser.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he goes back to school. He goes back to that English class.
And the teacher continues to be a dick.
He's like, here, I did all my homework or whatever. And he's like, oh, cool. I'll be glad to look at this or whatever. Here's your fucking poem. And he gives him the poem. It's got an F.
And Pacey's like, what was wrong with this? And he's like, it sucked. And then he tells the whole class that from now on, his grading is going to be completely subjective based on his whims and preferences.
Yeah.
How do you announce that to a class?
And because that's completely against the law.
Right.
And he's like, so if you work hard and you're a good student or whatever, you're going to get a good grade in this class. And if you don't, I guess you're fucked. And then there's a guy I noticed in a Letterman jacket in the back, just like sadly shaking his head. So I'm like, oh, he's not well liked either, apparently.
Right. So Pacey is not going to take this lying down. He goes to the library and looks up the ethics.
He's become quite industrious.
Yeah, the code of ethics for teachers.
Yeah.
And
Well, first, real quick, not to interrupt you, but real quick, we get another instance of an adult being a piece of shit because he's like, she shows him where it is, and he's like the librarian or whatever, and he's like, I guess the city clerk, because I think these are city files. And he's like, oh my God, this is going to take forever. And she's like, no, it's going to take 8 minutes. We're fucking
20
closing.
minutes, yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay, fuck you, I guess.
I mean, I don't think that was that bad. You said that when we were watching it, too. It's like, they're closing.
Yeah, but it's a bitchy thing to say. It would be better to be like, well, we're closing in 20 minutes. You might have to come back tomorrow. But now you know where it is, so
I
you're
guess.
welcome back.
She could have been nicer.
Yeah. Would you like a hand job?
Okay. I mean, he does seem to have that power over adult women, but yeah, so he goes through all the ethics and bylaws and stuff, and he prepares a document outlining what this teacher did, how he was in infraction on, what rules he broke. Yep. And he gets 20 other statements from other students.
Testimonials, yeah.
Like, how did he have time to do all this in one night?
I think the implication, I think, is it's over a couple nights. But.
Okay. And he sent them to each member of the school board.
Yep. And so there's going to be a school board meeting coming up, and he says something to the principal about it. And the principal's like, oh my God, Casey, what have you done?
Yeah, what do you want me to do? She said.
And like, why didn't you do your fucking job?
Yeah.
How did this incident happen last week and this guy wasn't even suspended?
Right? Yeah.
Like nothing happened to him.
So we're expecting then that the board will meet and talk about, what this guy did. Pacey goes into school the next morning and finds that their class is canceled, that they're supposed to go to the library for study hall.
Yeah.
Pacey discovers that.
Well, he passes by the classroom and the teacher's there.
And he goes in, and I'm thinking, you shouldn't. I wouldn't. I mean, like, he's thinking that the board's going to meet and all this stuff is going to happen, and I would just leave it alone and be done.
Right.
But he's Pacey, so he has to go in and talk to the guy.
And have the weirdest conversation in the world.
It was really weird. So the guy's, like, packing up his stuff, and he's like, you thought that I was going to let a group of idiots determine my fate? No, I was going to retire. It
seems like he has a momentary, like, doubt, too, about himself or whatever, or regret, because, and I'm thinking like, when it's going on, I'm thinking, don't try to redeem this character. Mm-hmm. Don't try to have this character be like, I was just trying to do what's best, or what, like, fuck this guy. Mm-hmm. And because he goes like, did you think I was going to let these idiots or whatever tell me everything I've been doing wrong for the last 30 years? And it's like, you don't think you've been doing things wrong. Don't even fucking try it. But he doesn't go there.
No.
He's like, instead, Pacey tries to apologize, and he's like, don't. That, like, spitting in my face was the most admirable, like, thing you've done or whatever. Like, don't cheapen it with an apology. And,
which makes no sense.
Yeah, and they're like, what the fuck? And he's like, why do you have to be so mean? And he's like, you came in to learn from me. And he's like, yeah, I learned about respect or whatever. And he's like, well, let me tell you something. You just ruined my career. What respect is in that?
No, he said something about compassion.
Yeah.
That, compassion deserves respect or whatever. And he's like, what compassion was there in ruining my career?
But you did something wrong. Like, you can't pass this off on this kid.
No.
This, like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, the whole conversation's very weird. I can't figure out who's on which side. Like, they're both, like, arguing with each other, and they're both apologizing to each other, and it's just weird.
Yeah.
So, I think we could have done without it, honestly.
Yeah, I think it just could have been like, oh, he fucked off. He was going to retire in 6 months. Like, a board member could have come up to Pacey and said that.
Yeah.
Or that guy, remember that guy that was like his counselor or whatever? He was like, I'm proud of you?
Yeah.
That guy could have come up and been like, hey, guess what? I think you did the right thing standing up to that bully. And the board agrees with you. But he fucking quit before they could even talk to him because he's a coward.
Because he knows. Deep down, he knows he was wrong. That's why.
He should, yeah.
And he didn't want to go in front of people to hear about it.
Ridiculous. Everything's going to be subjective from now on.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I understand he was planning to retire, so I guess he really just did not give a fuck. Mm-hmm. But how he could get away with it, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, apparently he was going to if Pacey hadn't done anything.
Yeah.
I mean, the principal didn't do anything. The principal's derelict in her job.
Yeah, well, I mean, once teachers have tenure, it is hard to fire them, but certainly not impossible.
Yeah, well, I mean, the disciplinary, like, what that he would have been gotten.
Yep.
He knows that he didn't have a leg to stand on.
Yeah.
Just why he just decided to retire.
It's like,
who knows if he was even going to retire in 6 months? I wonder, that's a lot,
right? I wonder though if he'll still get his pension.
I don't know. Maybe.
Probably.
Yeah, because he retired. Maybe.
Ugh. He should starve. No.
My God.
No, I don't really think that.
But yeah, I guess that's it.
Well, no, Pacey and Andy make up too.
Oh, yes.
That happens.
They have a weird argument about who's going to apologize to who. Because at first they have an argument about, you should apologize to me. No, you should apologize to me.
You didn't call. Well, my phone, has an incoming line, and
Even though I wasn't at home.
Right, I thought that too. He was at Dawson's the whole week. But then, they both come up to each other the next day and are, again, fighting about who's going to apologize. But they both managed to apologize to each other.
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't know about their relationship. They bring out good things in each other, but they fight a lot.
Yeah, I think they'll be all right, though. I mean, at least for now. They seem like they're fine.
I guess. It does seem like they fight a lot, though.
I guess. I don't know. Like, they fought... They weren't fighting... the week before last week.
All right. We'll see how many weeks they can go.
I guess they did kind of fight, though, because he mentioned the pills when he invaded her privacy.
They did. We'll put up a sign, how many episodes since Pacey and...
like a workman sign.
Yeah. Since Pacey and Andy's last fight.
But yeah, that is the episode for the week. Carol, tell the people where they can go to fight.
You can write us at latefee1994 at AOL.com. Mm-hmm. Check out our website at www.retrolatefee.com.
Yep.
And share the tapes with your friends.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.